So how do you scale a digital agency safely and so you actually enjoy it because it doesn't mentally and emotionally kick the living shit out of you? I'm going to show you right now, and it's called the Perfect Agency Framework. It's a process that you follow and repeat and follow until you go from budding agency, 5, 10K a month, up to 100K plus a month. And how do I know all of this? How do I know it works? Why should you trust my framework? Well, I've been doing this for 13 years or so now, and I make more money than most agencies. And this is me exceptionally happy because I get to work the hours that I choose when I choose. I get to work on stuff that I want to. So I'm in a very enviable position, but you don't have to take 13 years to get there. It's going to take you a few, but here are the shortcuts. This is the framework, the perfect process to follow to be a bit more like me. But I'm only worth 7 figures, and most gurus will tell you that's chump change. But back on planet Earth, aka reality, I think most of us would be quite happy with that. So let me explain to you step by step in great detail how you get there. So here she is. She's a beauty. This is the Perfect Agency Framework. We go from foundation to value to acquisition, operations, and then ascension. Pretty sexy. And I can tell already you're looking at this going, foundation, don't need any of that crap. Mumbo jumbo, I can skip it. Wasted. That's where the majority of budding and starting and small agencies go wrong. They skip the mindset. They skip the capability assessment. They skip the vision and the goals. So I'm going to walk through each one of these. Mindset, super critical. Running a business is not for everyone. That's why a lot of businesses fail, sadly. So mindset is all about committing and looking after yourself first and foremost. What do I mean by that? Exercise, eat healthy, get sleep, the basics. Get those fundamentals in so you can actually run a business. If you're not doing the basics and maintaining yourself, you will not physically and emotionally be able to run an agency, in my opinion, because it is a high stress environment. This process helps you reduce that, but still, you're going to get some punches along the way. You're going to have to pick yourself up. You've got to be fit to take the punches. Capability. Do you know what you're doing? Don't start an agency for SEO or Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever if you don't know what you're doing. If you've got a budget available to hire someone who knows what they're doing, perfectly fine. So don't just buy some backyard training and think you're a guru tomorrow. Don't start an agency if you don't have capabilities. It will cause you stress. Does that mean you can't start freelancing or consulting with very low experience? Of course it doesn't, but do a bit more pro bono work. Approach people and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do it for free. Shall we try this out? Get some experience under your belt, or just be honest about it and see what people are prepared to pay you. You'll have to work for less. Vision. It's not mumbo jumbo. The best companies in the world have more than this. They have a MVV, mission, vision, values. You can streamline your vision and it's split into 2. So it's your personal vision and it's the agency vision. Personal vision is where you want to be in X years ahead. Don't think short term. That's for goal setting. So what do I want out of this financially? Because money's not a bad thing. It's probably why most of us are in this. But also, what do I want from my life? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be with? Are there material things that I want? Do you really want that pink Lamborghini? Fair enough. Write it down. Put your visions to paper and be honest about why you're in this. Then your agency vision, don't run a dictatorship. Write down what the vision means for you. So things like, who are we going to serve? What are we going to do for them? So services, and what problem are we trying to fix? And some of these will be obvious and very clear, but you still need to document them. What's the vision for the agency? What's the purpose? It's the where we're going, not how we get there. Having a laser focus is a success multiplier, and just writing this stuff down will focus you, which brings me on to the goals part. So you take your long-term vision, your big picture, and you slice it up into goals. I love setting 60 or 90-day goals, high frequency stuff. So it's like, what am I trying to achieve? Is it a volume of sales? Is it a volume of new clients, new accounts? Is it a retention number? What is it? Write it down. Reverse engineer it. How do I get there? How many leads do I get at the minute? How many sales do I get out of that? It's pretty straightforward stuff. But in documenting this, you can literally say, I'm at 9 grand a month turnover. I want to get to 15 in 3 months. Write it down. Think about how that impacts your vision, your work, your priorities. I'm telling you, doing this basic process will help you with your time management, prioritizing stuff, and getting to your goal. And it's so simple, most people don't do it because it's probably too simple and they think it's mumbo jumbo. They fail. Numbers, again, I've just spoke about that. How do you get there? Simply reverse engineer it. Pretty straightforward. And if you've got no idea, we'll start with some guesswork and see how you go. It's better to have a orientation than zero perspective of where you're headed. Specialism, positioning, offer, front and back end. This literally molds your agency from the perspective of your prospective clients, prospective. There you go. So specialism, in my opinion, is the way to go. This could mean you are a Google ad specialist. You're a LinkedIn ad specialist. You pick a niche, you pick a vertical, you pick an industry. You start narrow, you go wider. How do you pick a niche? Oh, everyone says pick a niche. How do you pick a niche that works? Well, one that's big enough, one that you're interested in, one you have experience of, one preferably you've got case studies or a single good solid case study that you can show off, and one that you know you can serve. That's how you pick a niche. And pick a specialism that you want to lean into. I like Google Ads, so we do a lot of Google Ads. Does that mean that you have to stick with that service? Oh, I don't want to just do Google Ads. No, it doesn't. You can layer services, but they've got to have synergy. Think about YouTube ads and Facebook ads. There's synergy there because you can reuse the content, the video content. And then there are approaches to niching. You can niche cycle, you can niche in a niche, you can layer niches. There's loads of different things you can do to, again, go down that specialist, super targeted rabbit hole. I don't know if it's a rabbit hole. This is unscripted. But you'll stand out because you're talking very specifically to a specific audience and prospect that no one else really is. But then you've got to present them an offer that they want. So your value proposition, your positioning. Do you look and sound like every other agency on the market? 9 times out of 10 you will do. Hey, we do PPC. Who gives a toss? What do you actually do and who do you do it for and what's the outcome? That's your positioning. Your offer is more about how you get them there. Foot in the door offer, for example. So you can take your service, slice it up, either productize it or turn it into a foot in the door. This is a very top level, simple thing. And that component is your offer. So what's the outcome? What's the value? The important thing about this kind of offer is that you give way more value than you take. It gets you in the door, it gets you talking to people. But there's literally hundreds of approaches and channels. So then you could split into front and back end offer, essentially your marketing and your sales offer. So we've got our specialism down. We've positioned ourselves so we're talking to the right people, the people that we can give a offer that's of interest to them and gets them the result that they need. And then we head over to acquisition because we've now got to present this to people, find them. So you pick a channel, and here's the mistake that everyone makes. I made it too. You don't pick a channel, you pick every channel. So you're going to do social media, you're going to do Twitter, you're going to do Facebook, you're going to do LinkedIn. Are you really? Are you going to do TikTok? Are you going to do Reddit posts? Are you going to do YouTube? No. Pick a channel, laser focus that channel. What you need to do is saturate a channel till you cannot get any more blood out of it. If you're still getting leads from a channel and it's working, lean into it, go all in and keep leaning in till you literally hit a brick wall. Most channels are big enough to sustain an agency for a long time. And that goes for niches. Some niches are worth hundreds of millions of dollars and people turn up and say, I don't want to be too narrow. Yeah, you do. So you have a way to capture that person's interest. It could be an opt-in. It could be as simple as a lead gen form on a Facebook ad. It could be as simple as someone replying to a LinkedIn message, a form of opt-in. It doesn't have to be an email capture. Then you nurture them, and that could mean many different things. Or you go for the kill. It depends what you're presenting them. Is this a front end or a back end offer? If it's a back end offer, you can often go straight for the kill and say, you've been interested in this piece of value, we're going to deliver it for you. Whereas if it's more of a marketing, so a front end offer, you perhaps have to nurture these people through email, give them some case studies, some examples, show them the outcome. Pretty straightforward stuff. Most people don't do it, but follow up on it and keep following up till you're blue in the no, don't do that. Don't do that. How many times have you responded to someone that sent you 15 follow-up emails every day? Who teaches that shit? Follow up in a systematic, human way. So think about what they've just downloaded, what can support that in terms of, say, a case study, and then what can support that case study that you've just sent the day before in terms of a breakdown, like an exploding diagram of specifics. Like, there's the result, here's how you do it. And then what can you lean into after that? You don't have the time to do it, we'll do it for you. Let's have a call, let's do a sale. Let's do a sale, what's that? I don't know, yeah, you know what I mean. Then operations, another part that we all screw up because it's difficult delivering the work. So I have a reverse onboarding methodology and it's quite simple, sort of. Essentially what I do is I ask them where they are now, where they want to go. I plumb that information into a spreadsheet and it gives me essentially the split. So if they're paying a certain amount for a cost per conversion or they're getting a certain ROAS, if they tell me their new target and their additional budget, say, because I'm a Google Ads guy, then I can do a calculation based on that difference to see if it's realistic. It's pretty straightforward stuff. But if they think that they can double their leads by giving me an extra grand when they're already spending 10, yeah. And then before we take their money, before we get them on the sales call, we want to work through the things that screw us up. So essentially assess the risk. So onboarding, here's the top level risk assessment. Here's an example of a sheet that I use. So are they realistic expectations? Is this an existing advertiser? Again, this is for Google Ads. It could be for anything. It could be for SEO. Do they already do SEO? Whatever. Do we have experience in this industry? These are all risk factors. This is why I say specializing and niching is the preference, because then you can avoid this risk. By not knowing the industry, you are introducing risk. Do we have experience in their CRM? So if you're dealing with lead gen, for example, then do you know the software? Is it Salesforce? Have you worked with that? Is it an e-com? Is it Shopify? Have you worked with Shopify? Is it WooCommerce? Whatever. Again, risk factor. Is it yes or no? Did the tracking audit raise any concerns? Yeah. Pre-sale, we are auditing the tracking, not post-sale. You don't take the money and then screw yourself over to find 20 things you've got to fix. Any concerns over competition? Is this business positioned to compete, or have they got a wonky offer and they're struggling? Which comes down to potential growth issues as well. What's going on in the wider market? I do all this pre-onboarding. This is my pre-onboarding checklist to understand all these risk factors, because I want a easy life working with clients that we can serve, we can help, and we can get results for. If you don't do these things, you are literally gambling. No, worse than that, you're doing prison speed dating, which means you're going to come out the other side bruised and unable to walk. It's not advisable. So we run through the pre-onboarding checks, we find any issues, we talk to the client, we do the sales pitch. It doesn't need to have a massive proposal behind it. In fact, I think I put a video up years ago about my 2-step sales pitch without a proposal. Super simple. I record a video and present it and talk to them after to answer any questions. Mega simple. But that's pre-onboarding. If they sign on the dotted line and you have a simple agreement, like I do, which states what we're going to do, what they're responsible for, what they're going to pay, and also SLAs. So how do we communicate, how frequently, what should they expect in the first week versus the 15th week. So you're laying out the ground rules so there are no surprises for the client or for you. There's nothing worse than not specifying these things in a simple document that they sign, and then the first week is carnage because they're ringing every hour. You don't want that. Keep it simple, lay out what you're going to do, what you expect of them, and then the communications. Essentially your service level agreements, what it looks like to deliver this. So they've signed, they've paid you setup fee for your first month, whatever it may be, and you've got to deliver. So you've got to be good at what you do. So you need a framework for doing the work. I've got a product called God Tier Ads for Google Ads. It's a framework. It's built off our own understanding of Google Ads over the past God knows how many years. But the purpose of that is to literally do a dot to dot, follow the steps, deliver. This is a very deep subject because we can't spitball in 2 minutes how to deliver SEO or social media management or Google Ads or whatever it may be, but you've got to be able to deliver. So have a framework in place, document what you expect. And this is the beauty of specializing, because it reduces greatly the amount of delivery you do. If you're trying to deliver 10 services and you're just starting out, so you do a website, you do SEO, you do PPC, you do content, I know this because I've been there. It's hell on earth. It forces you to hire when you probably can't afford to hire a team of people spread thinly over a wide range of services. So I just wouldn't do that. And then retention comes down to getting the results, but a cadence of communication and the appropriate reporting and setting the agenda with your reporting as well. Too many times I see agencies over-reporting, trying to over-deliver because they over-promised at the start. And then they just get churned up in emails, phone calls, and detailed multi-page reports. Most clients, if you're delivering, are happy with a single page report. What have I spent? What's the outcome? Give me a running commentary, but a couple of minutes to digest, not 20. Many of my mentor members will send a Loom video once a month just to say, this is a check-in, this is how we're progressing, this is what's going on. If they need anything from the client, they can ask it in the Loom. Really simple, because most clients don't read reports. And if you send a really complicated report, it generally creates more questions than it answers. And yet agencies keep doing it. There are whole products out there on the market that sell you these complex, convoluted reports to send to clients. Why? Then we've sorted the retention out because we know what we're doing now. But can we safely scale? We want to take on more clients. We got leads coming in. Our value column in the framework is going to plan. So how do we safely scale? Well, we take our vision and we add values to it. So we understand our culture. Ooh, sounds wishy-washy. Yeah, I thought that. Got it completely wrong. So I didn't know who I was attracting. I was hiring PPC managers, but were they a good fit? I don't know, they could do the job. Is that the only thing they need to do? Not really. They need to fit your culture, your personality, your weak spots, the things that you want to build in the agency, in the team. Do they mash? Do they gel? Should they be senior? Should they be junior? What type of junior person do you want to attract? Will they work well with the senior that you've hired? All these things are defined in the values and the culture of your agency, but you should be aware of them. You should understand them. Then you get to answer, can I safely scale? Do you have the capacity to deliver? That's the ultimate thing. You don't take on work if you can't deliver, and you don't get greedy and don't hire. The hiring point is at a crossroads. And another mistake that a lot of people make, and I made, and it's no disrespect to my previous past long gone employees, but hiring juniors is probably not the right approach. You're better off hiring someone senior and experienced versus 3 junior members of the team, because they can be a self-starter, they can take the work, they can deliver, and they can probably communicate with the client as well. So we've got that person, which means we can safely scale, which means we can hop back round the framework and go back to the start. And you're probably thinking, well, hold on, I want to get to Ascension. I want to get to leadership, partnerships, offload and investing. Easy, Tiger. You've still got to go back, check your mindset. You've still got to go back, check the fundamentals. Are we still capable? What are our capabilities? Have they shifted because I've hired someone? Has my vision changed because we're 6 months down the road? Does the vision still make sense? The vision is an organic thing and can be adapted and changed and updated. So don't think that your vision can't change. Things change every 6 months, 3 months, week. If you're really screwing up, daily. But we do work in a fluid environment running an agency. Your goals, did you hit them the past quarter? Do you need to recalculate the numbers and your projections? But having that vision tightened up, adjusted, and then refreshing your goals for the next push, that next step, is super critical. Having this vision and goals also will separate you from the also-rans. It prioritizes the mindset. If you're struggling with time management, then this is the process that you should go through to really prioritize stuff, because it dumps everything else to one side and you go after that ultimate ultimate goal. And it's what separates the winners from the also-rans. Now, we can talk about Ascension, and it's for bigger agencies. So you've hit a point where you've got enough team on board, you've got a agency that's running like clockwork, where you've removed yourself from the operations side. You are now essentially the sales and marketing side. And then we move to leadership, where we're thinking about, okay, I want to hire someone to be my head of ops. I want to hire someone to be head of sales. Essentially, you hire to remove the stuff that you no longer like. You might love sales, and it's perfectly okay being the salesperson of an agency. You might, like me, enjoy the marketing side. You're like, that's my job. I want the marketing job. The rest of it I don't want anymore. Partnerships is a biggie as well, because you will start to get itchy. You'll be attracting clients that want more than your core disciplines and your core competencies. And you'll start to say, I've got enough money in the bank now. I can hire someone to do that and bring that. No, don't. Just chill the fuck out. Find yourself a reliable partner. If you do PPC and they do SEO, beautiful. But have boundaries in place. Say to them, don't send us PPC stuff that doesn't fit in our core competency. If it doesn't fit in where we want to go, if it doesn't match our vision and our positioning and our values, we can't take that on. So you might have to have more than one partnership. It's optional anyway. And then you're offloading, which is stripping all the work away that you don't want, because you've got this machine that's ticking over, it's humming, it's well oiled. You've got responsible team members that are aligned to your values and vision, and the world's perfect. It's not. Obviously, that's a misnomer. It's never going to be perfect, but it's pretty good at this stage, and you should be making, at the very least, multiple six figures profit. So then what do you do with the money? Oh, options. What do you do? What I do? Invest it. So I've got Ad Evolver, which is a software product for Google Ads professionals and agencies. Yeah, boring Google Ads guy. Sorry. I invest in the markets. I invest in many other different things. The beautiful thing is I also have an investment business, because that takes the money from all the other businesses that I've invested in thanks to the agency and the training product. So then that starts to compound, and you build more, and you have more options, and you build your money, and you build your fuck you money, and then you build confidence, and you build control. So no one can touch you, because you've got enough under you that means you can weather the storm. And even when you hit that point, you then have a choice. Do you go back round to foundations? Yes, you probably should, because you still need to sort those visions and goals out. You need to not get complacent and let the ship hit the rocks. And the loop starts again. And you might get to the point where you want to sell this bloody thing. You might get to the point where you want to hire a director to take it on entirely, and you go off and do something completely different. That comes down again to your personal vision, which will update and change as you go. So that's the perfect framework. It's a cycle. How could we describe it? It's like the agency centipede, isn't it? It sort of one end is connected to the other, and it's a cycle that feeds itself, which is probably a bit grotesque. Anyway, if this has been useful, interesting, if this is going to motivate you and propel you forwards in growing your agency, scaling your agency, making your agency more efficient, but you want to understand in great detail what's under each of these components and have someone help you along the way, guess what? That's me. What? Don't turn off. But I offer mentoring in Agency Forge. So if you want the whole kit and caboodle, all the training, all the materials, the community with like-minded agency owners, and you want mentoring from me on a weekly basis, all that sort of good stuff, head over to agencyforge.com and apply. There's also a video on there that explains what goes on inside Agency Forge. I'm not very good at sales pitches. I don't really need to be. You either want it or you don't. Go and have a look. And remember, if you've enjoyed this video, if it's been useful, please leave a like and a comment if you've got questions. I'm sure there's going to be questions, because this is a very complicated subject that I've squished into a half-hour video. So thank you for watching. It's been my pleasure. Good evening, good night, God bless, hit the like. Oh shit, sorry. Okay, I'm going.